You should know more about the Neptunes, and here's why.
Okay, what are we doing again?
A couple weeks ago, the old algorithm brought me to a video called The Making of Justified. It essentially was behind the scenes footage of Justin Timberlake working on his album Justified. And the majority of this documentary was in a studio in Virginia Beach with two guys named Pharrell Williams and Chad Hugo. Pharrell has been one of the biggest characters, personalities, and just most, creative people of the last 20 years, spanning music, fashion. He's everywhere. And he's an incredibly confident person who knows his brilliance and uses that to his advantage. But then there's this other guy named Chad Hugo. He has been this mysterious figure in music for 20 years. People who really know music know who he is, but a lot of people, they can't really keep tabs on this guy. And these two, Pharrell and Chad Hugo, form the duo, the Neptunes.
And when you do your press, like, yo, so who did you work on their album? Don't say Neptunes. Say I work with Williams and Hugo. Don't even say Neptunes. Kill these motherfuckers. So when we go get that Grammy, I'm gonna have a shirt on that say Neptunes.
In the early 2000s, around 2001 to 2005 specifically, the Neptunes had the most profound stretch of hit making by any producers ever. There was a point in time, and I think 2003, the Neptunes produced or wrote 43% of all music played on the top 100 radio. Let that sink in. That's half of the music that the entire country was listening to was made by two guys in Virginia Beach. There's a lot of information about Pharrell producing this stuff, but I don't think it's ever, shown in the Neptunes as a duo. And I think Pharrell is the first person to tell you that none of those records are possible without Chad Hugo.
Well, he's a savant. He's a genius.
Yeah, he's a genius.
And
He's a savant.
No. No. I'm just an aunt. I'm just an ant. The last three letters of that word.
On top of the Neptunes producing for other people, they created a band called N.E.R.D. N.E.R.D is kind of this wing of the Neptunes that allows them to tap into their more experimental side. It allows them to make a 4-minute bridge or a 5-minute outro. They can flex these sort of things and more out there ideas on this project N.E.R.D, which is not as commercial. It's much more of a fan-based cult following. And it's allowed the both of them to stretch their abilities and see where the limits are. And I think that is very important in shaping the Neptunes. I don't think the Neptunes are as successful as they have been without N.E.R.D, without this other part of their brain that allows them to just really go crazy. I'm really glad I took a deep dive into N.E.R.D, and I suggest any music fans to do the same. If you haven't listened to their whole discography, it's really great. Especially the 2000s stuff. And apparently they have another album on the way, so I'm excited about that. All of this kind of leads me to a conclusion of the power of collaborating. I think now if there's any producers watching this, about Splice and all these sample packs that allow you to have access to all these instruments and ideas on your own. Like if I want to add a guitar to a song, I can look up guitar and the key of the song, and there's literally 1,000 options. And I think it has created a landscape of cop-outs for music producers. It's much easier to do that than to reach out to a guitar player, schedule a studio session, get the mics, set everything up, and in 1 hour try to come up with an original idea over this song that you made. And that's the difficult path. There's the sample loop packs, which is so much easier and allows you to work quickly and just bang out a high volume of music. But you don't get a 3-minute guitar solo on the end of a song like sooner or later by using these sample packs. Tying this all back together to that original video that I found, the Justified documentary, I think in this 20 minutes, it highlights that power of collaboration. You just see Justin Timberlake and Pharrell just looking like this right in front of each other's faces and just like creating a top line and putting lyrics to it, bouncing lyrics off of each other. Versus if it was just one of them in a room, that back and forth dynamic isn't there. So then you can run with an idea that's actually shitty. And in your brain, you think it's good, but you don't have anyone there to be like, dude, no, let's go in this direction. And that's the power of collaboration.
That was it. That was it. What? It's better now because you don't have to admit you wanna play. Let me rock you to the break of day.
Finding someone who complements your faults and working with them is the most powerful asset anybody can have. In music, art, business, anything, it is finding people who can do what you're not good at and allowing them to bring up the quality of your product overall. And Chad Hugo does this for Pharrell. Pharrell's, when he's in the room, he's in the room. He takes control of the room and he's creating top lines, writing all the hooks. Chad Hugo's nowhere to be found until they're stuck. There's a moment Justin Timberlake and Pharrell are like going back and forth on this bridge. They just can't figure out something. And out of the corner of the room, you just see a figure appear. He just walks in. You just see a little, right in the corner there, the little body. And it's Chad Hugo. And he just walks over to the keyboard. Whole bridge done in 5 minutes. Looks over at them. And he's like, do you guys like that? And that's the bridge that's in the finished song. And in that moment, you see why the Neptunes are the greatest production duo of all time. And it's because they feed off of each other. In that moment, Pharrell is stuck. Chad comes in. 5 minutes later, the song's done. If Chad's not there, that doesn't happen.
I remember, like, you would start a groove and we would start mumbling melodies and then we'd come up with something and then it would get to where it was and you would be like, Chad! And like Chad would walk in, it's like, we need a bridge, and Chad would be like, flee, 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 flee. And I would just look at Pharrell like, what?
It's so hard to be Pharrell Williams and not have an outrageous ego. He probably does. But to sort of take a step back when everybody's giving you the glory of drop it like it's hot. Oh, Pharrell produced that. Pharrell did this. He goes, no, the Neptunes produced that. Me and Chad Hugo. I think that's something to look up to in an industry of music that is generally abusive to artists like Chad, who are very reserved people. In music, guys and girls like that, they're just picked up. They create brilliant art. They get 20% of it. Nobody talks about them. These people are everywhere. And I just love the Neptunes and how Pharrell sort of always had Chad with him and always sang his praises. And he knows the value of collaboration and how important it is to creating great art. Yeah, that's my little Neptunes video. I'm going to try to keep putting these out once a week, every Monday. And so if you kind of like the format of this, feel free to comment like video ideas, things you want me to talk about. Thank you to anyone who's watching and stuck around for the whole thing. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Bye-bye.
Naturally, Pharrell will have a beat in his head. He'll put it down. He'll have the sequence or idea. He may have some drums laid down. The drums may sound shitty as hell. They may sound crummy, but it'll be a good groove. And he'll have the hook already in his head and how it should go. He'll even probably have the video. He'll have as much as he can laid down, beat-wise, rhythmically, keys, whatever. And then I'll hear it, and I'll try to lace it. To me, I consider myself like a band, you know what I mean? Like, you got a song, let me be your band. I'll fill it in what I can, make it sound good, do what I can, make sure it's a dope song.